criticize Twitter, which he pledged to bring back from the far left to the middle, but that's not what happened. Elon, when you took over Twitter, I was right there with you. It had become an awful place. Nothing more than a hunting ground for left-wing scolds to find something to cancel people for. As I used to say, the problem with Twitter is anything I want to say on Twitter, I can't say on Twitter. So I loved it when you said it would become politically neutral and tweeted, I hope even my worst critics remain on Twitter because that's what free speech means. Well, it didn't remain long. You gave Don Lemon a show and he asked you one tough question and you shit-canned him faster than Kristi Noem took down Alex Padilla. You just switched it from a place conservatives felt supremely unwelcome to the reverse, and that's not what it looks like to appeal to 80%. Neither was Doge. Did we all think that there was some bloat in government? Yeah, sure. But you acted like a doctor who always wants to pull the plug and harvest the organs while the rest of us are going, I just came in for a bikini wax. That wasn't big dick energy, that was being a dick energy. And until USAID, you had a pretty great scorecard for saving, not taking lives, and making life better. You made electric cars a commercial reality. Giving Starlink satellite service for free to Ukraine is what allowed them to survive against Russia. Neuralink is soon going to allow a paralyzed person to walk. SpaceX lands reusable rockets upright, which is so much better than the old method, crashing. Even PayPal is kind of a wonder of modern life, making it possible for millions of Americans to sell their broken lawnmower on eBay. And you got the biggest one of all right, before anybody, recognizing AI as an existential threat. Although I have to say it did a pretty good job at writing the words I'm saying right now. I mean, without you, these two poor bastards would still be up in space. It's an incredible record. But government work? It's Chinatown, Jake. It's not for people like you. Was it worth a try? Sure. Kind of like when Michael Jordan tried to play baseball. But Elon, did you really think you were going to fit in Washington with that carnival of crayon eaters? Congress people? This is the job for people who are the opposite of exceptional. It's corporate shills wearing flag pins. It's ex-wrestling coaches, CrossFit trainers, restaurant owners, football coaches, reality show rejects, bartenders, beauty queens, steak salesmen. Dude, they literally shoot things in their campaign ads. That's not you. That's not you, and neither was this. I get it, you were hurt in your previous relationship with the left, so you threw yourself into a bad rebound. We've all been there, man. I just want you to look at everything you developed with Trump. The electric cars, the reusable rockets, the brain chips. And then look what you developed after Trump, a drug habit. And now I see you're thinking of crawling back. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's a terrible idea. He's not good for you. And we need our boy genius to be more stable. Come on, you're older now. Pretty soon you might even start having kids. jokes on that one. Knock yourself out. I mean, it's always funny when Nick Cannon does it.
Bill Maher's thoughts on Elon Musk and a third party, which, who knows? We might need a third party in this country. I'm with Bill Maher. I don't know that Elon's the guy to do it. I'm going to go to Rick Sanchez from the great state of California. Rick, would you like a fresh five, my friend?
Yeah, well, Maher is pretty good at that type of political commentary. It's pretty good. I don't like him on some things, but he's pretty good at those. Is that his end of the show commentary?
Yeah, I think that was his end of the show new rule, yeah.
Yeah, his new rules are usually pretty good.
And Rick, I don't know what you want to talk about, but if you wanted to talk about the ICE raid on the cannabis farm a day or two ago, that would be amazing. But if not...
Well, I will talk a little bit about that. But first, our previous speaker had said something about Mayor Bass making an executive order to ban ICE. If we want to become a better country, we have to do better research than a meme. I put the text of the executive order in the chat. It doesn't do anything about banning ICE at all. So you can read the executive order yourself, or you can keep reading memes. But, and there's plenty of memes on the left that are completely false, especially ones that have attribute quotes. If there's a quote attributed in a meme, really do your research, because it's probably wrong. So do that, and we'll become a better country for it.
And by the way, Rick, this will be the last time I interrupt you. This is why I played a 2-minute clip of Mayor Karen Bass, so you could hear the words directly from her mouth. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, and he specifically mentioned an executive order, so I just got the text of the executive order and posted it so people can read it and what it says. But, I do agree that I think it was Scott that said that the political parties use this as fodder, and they do. They absolutely do. But we have a new leader. Obama's not president, and he was a massive deporter, and he was a massive deporter of without due process people. And I looked that up through the ACLU, who sued Obama for doing that. He did do that. When he was finishing his term, they were saying that he had open borders. Well, he didn't. That was political fodder too. And, it is true that Biden was a piss-poor border manager. That is absolutely true. He did deport a lot of people at the same time. But he really messed up in managing the border. Now, during his term, there was a bill, bipartisan bill, written by a conservative Republican that was going for a vote. Trump came out, he wasn't an elected official anymore, and he threatened Republicans who voted for it. And it failed. Now, this bill did have problems. It was not perfect. Democrats kind of hated it. Republicans kind of hated it. But that probably says, well, it's probably fairly good at what it's going to do. Trump could have come into office and said, I'm bringing that bill back, Congress. I want you to fix it. I want you to fix the problems that people like Marshall were complaining about, which was a very legitimate problem. That the people at the border, the towns at the border, were having the bulk of the problems and the bulk of the expenses, and they were not getting compensated for it by either the states, like the state of Texas, or the state of Arizona, or the state of California. They weren't getting compensated by those states or by the federal government to take on the burden that inland cities have. They could have fixed that. Trump could have ordered Congress to fix that, and since he has control pretty much of both houses of Congress, he could have gotten it passed. And Democrats probably couldn't have done anything about it, but he chose not to do that. Now, he said the other day, and we'll get to Oxnard right now, he said the other day, I am not going to bother farmers. Farmers are good people. We need them to be able to do their work. We're going to stop doing raids on the farms. That same day, the Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, Homan, and the chair of the Agriculture Department, Secretary of Agriculture, all came out and said, no, we're going after the farms. Now, they did go after, it was a legal cannabis farm that's been around for years. They sent about, people estimate between 50 and 100 agents to go to this farm. Now, this farm has been problematic in the past. Number one, for labor violations. And I know that the Farm Workers Union has had some issues with this place because they do have underage people. Now, underage people can work on farms, but not on a cannabis farm. You have to be 21 years old to work on a cannabis farm. And they had underage kids working there. But they didn't arrest or detain the owners of the cannabis farm. They detained people who had worked there for years, people who have been here for 20 years, had no criminal record, had families here, and they're detaining them. Some violence did happen. There was about 3 or 4 people that threw rocks at cars. There was probably 100, maybe 120 protesters. 3 or 4 of them were bad actors. And I hope they get arrested and charged with the crimes. I also had a friend who was hit in the face with a rubber bullet and got hit in the head with a canister of, I don't know if it was smoke or tear gas or something. They were launching a number of things. There was another guy that pulled a gun, allegedly. There's a photograph of a guy with something that looks like a gun. And there's a $50,000 reward for it if they catch this guy, and I hope they do. He should be tried and serve his sentence and then deported. And we could do this. We could do this, but it's going to take people like you and me and everybody in this room calling our Congress people and say, fucking fix this immigration system that is broken. We can do this. There are already bills written that address most of these problems. I know a lot of people on the left say don't build that.
60 seconds, Rick.
But let them build the fucking wall. But let's have, it's their state. If they want to build a wall, let them build it. But they also have to do some humane things. And we can trade that off, and we can fix this immigration system. But we choose more to argue about it and to blame people. And I'm saying it's time for us, the citizens of the United States, to start demanding that our president and Congress do their fucking jobs, whether they're Republican or Democrat, and stop doing all these photo ops and press releases and things to divide us. And we can't do that, but it's up to us to do it. And that's it.
Thank you, Rick. Articulate, impassioned, and reasonable, as always. That should be on your book jacket, Rick. Impassioned, articulate, and reasonable. I'm going to go to the driver, Jay, one of the great articulate graduate, educated, animal-loving people on this app. Driver, would you like a fresh thought?
Sure. Are we allowed to go back to the academic culture issue of immigrant students, or no?
I'm telling you, this is, people died in 1776, so you could bring us back to anything you want, Doc. You got it.
So one of the interesting things is that foreign national students offer a lot of soft diplomacy. You bring in students that are offspring of government officials in foreign lands. I remember when I was in a biomedical program at a large Research One university, I'll just say Ohio State, I don't care. You know, I found that I found some very interesting things. For one, I remember a veterinary oncologist who was of Japanese origin, a brilliant physician, veterinarian scientist, whose English was rather broken. He brought in a lot of grad students that were not necessarily proficient in English. I don't know that how they scored on the TOEFL, but the point is they were very hard workers, they were very bright, but they served his needs. He needed students who could offer chemistry literally and figuratively in the laboratory setting. So there's a lot of nuanced aspects to how these people pick students. Sometimes it's all about the funding. For example, if you can get a student on a grant that is, for example, I remember one of the kids of the Minister of Agriculture of Thailand was one of my lab mates. Well, he was brought over on some unique funding, and it offered. It was soft diplomacy. It conferred building relationships. But was he necessarily the best student? I'm not going to argue one way or the other. But I think like legacy students at the undergrad level. There's a lot of finessing the system to bring over people who are not necessarily the brightest or the best, but might offer something. And then some of them may be the brightest and the best, and they're held back because they don't bring these other resources. So I think that we have to read between the lines and think about, on a very case by case. And I'm not talking about deportation specifically. I'm talking more about the people who are brought over in the first place. Again, I think Norm was questioned for making a controversial comment. I'm not so sure it was so controversial. The notion that people may not be as qualified to come over here with degrees from other nations and then seek board certification in the allied health practitioner space, if you will. There's some truth to that. Now, some people are really qualified, and then they have to go and start over and get a degree in the States and then seek board certification. So it's fair to some people and completely unfair to others, but that's the place that we live, and those are what our freedoms offer. So anyways, thanks.
Thank you, Doc. Always a pleasure to hear your voice, my friend. Always nice to see you. I want to go to one of the mod squad. Cora, you had something to contribute, I believe.
Oh yes. I just wanted to comment on how people choose their profile pictures and somehow don't recognize the visual signals they're sending off. So a prior speaker on the stage has a profile picture that has some obvious Star Wars references in it, along with some not so obvious ones. But in the background, we have two eagles facing different directions, which is, an imperial sort of heraldry that's been used by multiple empires throughout the past. We have the president holding a red lightsaber, which means he has been corrupted by the dark side and is subject to acting on his negative emotions. And then we have him wearing the dark robes of Anakin Skywalker, particularly the hooded one that he used when he murdered a school full of children. So, Yeah, it looks like cool, muscly Trump, but I think you've been punked there. You don't know what you're showing there. Um, Sometimes it helps to consult the nerds.
Words to live by. Consult the nerds. Absolutely, I couldn't have said it better myself. We're gonna go to Daryl. Daryl, you have something you'd like to contribute as a member of the Mod Squad.
Yeah, really, really quickly. Donald Trump's never been built like that in his fucking life. That's absolutely amazing.
Does hit the ball a long way for his age, though, and his lack of athleticism on the golf course. Kind of a strange swing, but he is
like Jack LaLanne, man. He's doing like what do they call it? Resistance exercises or whatever the hell that is. My particular avatar is a egghead dad and an egghead kid frolicking through the tall grass, and it was meant to be fun. I wanted to quickly. We are currently at a stage where we import more doctors, and I posted 2 articles in the chat. I think back in 1981 we only imported 9% of the overall doctors, and now we're up to I think 25%. Some of the really good schools, NYU, I think Columbia, the other doctor in the room might be able to correct me, but they've really either reduced or eliminated the cost of medical school because fewer and fewer younger people were choosing to become doctors for economic reasons. The amount of student loans that they would have to take out, and then how long they would have to work to not only pay off these loans but to actually start making money in the healthcare industry is daunting. I raised my hand because I think it was, what is her name, Joe, had mentioned before about war, and more, I guess, younger people are believing themselves that we are marching towards war. And what I would like to say is that if you talk to some economists, we are already at war. It's not necessarily kinetic war. It's more like economic wars. I think we talked in the chat the other day about BRICS and who the United States sees as economic enemies, China being one of them. But we are already in the beginning throes of what will be conflict, even if that conflict is more economic conflict than actual boots on the ground. I don't personally believe that the future of warfare in this country with regards to America will be like boots on the ground. I think you can look at what we did to Russia in the Cold War. We basically bankrupted them to the point they had to stop fighting, or they had to quit. Wars don't have to involve soldiers and navies and all these things when we can simply starve others to death. And I think that if I were to ask anyone in the room, when did World War II start? I think most people would probably say 1941. But what I would say is that if you were to ask China, when did World War II start, they'd say 1937, when Japan invaded them. So some things are not as obvious, depending on where you stand, your GPS codes. But I do think like we are already in the beginnings of conflict or quote unquote war. I just think it's more economic this time around.
And thank you very much, Daryl. And thank you, Reverend Scott, for taking over for me for a half hour. Well deserved. Thank you very much. much. And for those of you that are in the audience and want to come up, please, this is your last chance, because as it gets closer to the top of the hour, it's going to not only become difficult, it will become impossible. Welcome to another edition, a great edition of Ask Uncle Steve with the Mod Squad. I have assembled the best Mod Squad in the history of Clubhouse. Unlike other Clubhouse rooms, we encourage everybody, especially the new speakers, to come on up and talk about whatever you want. Everything is on the table, and nothing is off limits. My Mod Squad has a wide range of fields of expertise and knowledge, and you can either go on a narrative, just have a take and don't suck, or you can engage with me or my Mod Squad. New on stage, I believe, is it Andrew? Andrew, have you spoken yet? Andrew, have you spoken yet? Okay. Let's go to Yakov. Yakov, would you like a fresh five?
No, I just came up. I'm really, really tired, but give me a few moments if there is time.
Okay, if there is time, we'll go back to you. Fair enough. No, go on. It's okay. Go on mute. We will come back to you, I promise. Let's go to Andrew. Andrew, are you there? Okay, let's go to Normo. Let's give El Normo his last fresh five, and then we'll give him a first-class me and the mods will give him a first-class escort to the VIP. El Normo, would you like your last fresh five?
Yeah, thanks. How's the audio?
Yeah.
Pretty good?
Yeah, good.
Super. So, I'm going to talk about Trump a little bit because he seems to inspire a lot of ideas.
Lying will do that. Go ahead.
Well, to call Trump a liar is sort of like calling.
Well, I didn't actually call him a liar, even though he is time and time again. I just said lying will do that. Please continue.
Yeah, but
yeah.
The clear implication is you meant his lying will spark a lot of conversation, correct?
Absolutely. It also has a tendency to deflect from other issues, but go ahead, yes.
Well, that's kind of a good point. My son and I watched 28 Days Later last night. I've seen it about 3 times. It's a wonderful movie. And it opens with PETA, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, breaking into a monkey lab where they are studying the effect of viruses on primates, and these well-meaning buffoons, not to be confused with the baboons that they're treating, these protesters in their black outfits and their face masks, free chimpanzees, unleashing upon the world a virus that pretty much wipes out humanity. So it's a real smack against PETA. And my son theorized after watching, we loved the film, and my son theorized that PETA is a psyop by the drug companies to make people for the ethical treatment of animals look like idiots.
By the way, Normo, if you never saw the movie Project X with Matthew Broderick, that is also a movie where they teach, where they talk about the effects of viruses and disease on monkeys and spaceships. But go ahead. Project X with Matthew Broderick. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll make a mental note. He's a neighbor, so I sometimes greet him. Project X, I wrote it down. The point is that well-meaning, and we can discuss whether they are in fact well-meaning. Well-meaning fools do a lot of damage. Another word for well-meaning fools is useful idiots. Now, personally, as someone with more experience with psychology and psychiatry than I can even recount, professional experience, I doubt that the well-meaning fools or useful idiots are even really well-meaning. I think they are closet uh, savages, let's just say. Meaning that they are violent and angry and sadistic, but they cloak it in the pretension of goodwill and care for humanity. Now, there are some people who actually care, but when people demonstrate for Hamas, when people demonstrate for terrorists, or when they seem to value the life of non-humans over the life of humans, or when they are more concerned with, I don't know, the rights of criminals than they are with the rights of the victims of criminals. I'm thinking of the defund the police people who demonstrated both to empty the prisons and to defund the police. You have to think that they have the ability to think, and they must know that what they are really doing is activating for the infliction of violence on the and suffering on the innocent. So let's go to Trump. I don't think anybody thinks he's not an asshole. He is.
2 minutes, Norm. Two minutes.
Thanks. He's a bad guy. He's all thumbs. However, having been shot in the head and leaped up and yelled, "Fight, fight, fight," he is filled with the spirit of, I put this in italics or quotations, righteousness. He wants to get stuff done. For those of you who don't like the fact that he's deporting people, well, we looked the other way while they were coming in, and now we're all alarmed that they're going out. For those of you worried about war, we looked the other way when people attacked us and everything that we hold dear, left and right and center, over and over and over again. The terror attacks, the infiltration of the schools, the infiltration of our legal institutions, etc., etc. We look the other way. And now we are alarmed when we're dealing with the people who are attacking us. Now we say we're worried that we're slouching towards war. Well, let me tell you something. We've been at war for a while. We just haven't been fighting back. So we have our villain, we have our Ajax, our Greek bad guy, in reference to Greek myth and legend, who is kicking some ass and reestablishing deterrence. Because one thing that the cowards who attack us is afraid. They bullies.
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Sure. So what Trump is doing is he's kicking the ass of the bullies, and they are cowering. It's not pleasant, but it is necessary. I'll land it there.
Thank you. And mods, I need you all to get together. Get that first class escort down to the VIP. Here we go for Norm. Thank you, Norm. Let's go to Joe B. Joe B, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, I would. Goodbye. No. I wanted to go back real briefly to Cuba.
Do it in 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you.
I can't. I lived there for 4 years, and Cuba was a very interesting community because people were passionate and basic and ordinary. The leaders were the communists, and they kind of browbeat the ordinary people. And they ended up being pretty invested in the black market, in there.
Thank you very much, first class escort to the VIP. Let's see who I'm going to call on.
Try me this time, Steve.
Yes, Andrew, take a fresh 3. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had technical issues.
That's okay, no problem, my friend. To the north, take a fresh 3.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everybody, or good Good afternoon. I did not pay much attention to the United States. It was there. We all know about it here in Canada. It's culturally, it's hard to ignore.
And then Uncle Steven the Mod Squad came on Clubhouse, and you've been enthralled in it ever since, right?
Oh yeah, that's. No, the reason that I started to really look at the United States more closely was the rise of Donald Trump. And I think the first thing that really, and this was going back towards 2015 when he was first on the stump, whatever you want to call it, campaigning. And the rhetoric that was coming out of this man was alarming as far as I was concerned. It reminded me of things I'd heard in the past from several leaders of renown or infamy, shall I say. And so I've been watching it ever since. And in this conversation today, I think one of the things that stands out to me is something that, Rick kind of alluded to it, that you need to be more active in your towards your elected leaders and pressure them. But something that Dr. Francine said, and I think when I look at what's going on in the ICE raids, etc., and the whole issue of immigration in the United States, it is the lack of humanity that comes out. Now, it is true that Obama deported more people, and he had children in cages. Didn't learn that till after the fact myself. I don't know about the rest of you, whether you knew that was going on at the time. But overall, I think what we see now is a lack of humanity in the way that these people, and there are people, are being treated. Alligator Alcatraz, for example, I'm not so worried about the alligators and the pythons. I think if I was there, I'd be more worried about the mosquitoes, because they, in fact, kill more people than any other creature on the planet through malaria and other diseases.
That is a true statement. Please continue.
Yeah, so I think I'll wrap it up here. I really think that this lack of humanity is going to be detrimental to the United States. It used to be that the United States, for the most part, could point, say, to other countries, you're treating these people incorrectly, inhumanely, etc., etc., etc. And that is no longer the case. You've lost all that kind of credibility that you had enjoyed up until now. And this could also go back to Guantanamo Bay and the treatment of those people, enemies or not, and torture, waterboarding, all that sort of stuff. And so it's hard to point, it's hypocritical to point at others when you're doing the exact same thing. Thank you much, Steve.
Andrew, always a pleasure, because the show is better with you than without you. First class escort to the VIP. Alan, we'll get to you in a moment. Let's go to Yakov. Yakov, would you like a fresh 3?
Yeah, not nearly as serious, but something near and dear to my heart.
You can talk about whatever you want, baby.
Okay. There isn't, it's really a question for the mods. Aim at Scott first, if he's available.
Well, just throw the question in.
Okay.
Hello. Throw the question out there, and then when the mods get to it, the mods can respond to it. Go ahead.
Takes me a little bit to...
It's okay, no worries.
So I was the teacher, and for me, the English language is paramount, and there is a war on grammar in the U.S. I want to know why who thought Prime Day can be multiple days? Like, why is it not Prime Days? Like, we're teaching our kids through corporations that don't understand grammar what real grammar is like, and it's under assault. So, am I the only one that's like really troubled by this, or it's not a problem for anybody else?
You got another minute if you want, or
No,
are you
it's
good?
a simple question.
You got okay. Oh, so you're good. You're good. Yes.
Yeah, I'm good. I need a reaction. Like,
You know. Oh yeah. You'll get one. I promise.
yeah,
First,
I'm sorry you're gonna hate it, but I'm sure I'll hate it. But I find it offensive to the grammarian in me.
Thank you, first class escort to the VIP. before we go to Alan, who wants to respond, I'm going to take a stab at it right now, and then all the mods can do it if they want. The English language, the words have original meanings, and then the meanings changed as time goes by. That's known as the colloquial definition. For example, the word hot originally meant it's hot, but then it started to mean like, oh, that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. The word cool meant that originally things were cold, but then it also turned out to be that's a good thing. I think the greatest example of the changing meanings of the words that we've seen in our own lifetime, and in fact throughout the 5 years of COVID, is the word woke. The word woke was sort of an underground word in the 1930s in the black southern communities, and essentially it meant be aware of how the black person is being treated by the white person. And it pretty much stayed underground until about the 1990s, maybe the year 2000, when the word woke was adopted by the liberal Democrats to not mean be aware and be awake of how the black person is being treated by the white person, but how the conservative Republicans are treating the liberal Democrats. And then in the past 5 years, the word has been taken over, hijacked, corrupted, whatever adjective you wanted to use, by the conservative Republicans to say, look at those liberal Democrats. Do you really want this world turning into a woke society? So there are 3 examples your Uncle Steve is giving you on how words can have a change of colloquial meaning, but the mods can respond to that if they want. Now we'll go to Alan. Alan, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, I'll just say, relating to the previous speaker about, and this is the common thread, is that coming from the left, is that Republicans are inhumane and that they don't care. And that's a false narrative. Is it humane that the Biden administration lost 300,000 underage, children in their immigration process? Was it humane for California to change laws so people could steal up to $950 worth of merchandise, training them to become criminals? No. Ultimately, what it is the left always complains about the way the right does things. And let me just use
and the right always complains about the way the left does things. Please continue.
Yes, but
well, there's no but. That's a true statement.
It is a true statement. The distinction is that the left says that the right is doing it inhumanely. And I'll just say this. When you break up with your girlfriend, whether you do it nicely, oh baby, it's not you, it's me. You were so wonderful, and I'm a fool, but I have to go. Or you say, baby, I can't stand you, I'm breaking up with you. Either way, gets the job done. And that's my final analogy. And the fact that you laughed at it makes me feel good, Uncle Steve. That's the difference between the left and the right. Thank you.
First class escort to the VIP, and trust me, I could speak for 15 minutes right now about ex-girlfriends, ex-boyfriends, and divorces and stuff, but I'm not going to. Now we get to the mod squad, who don't get first class escorts to the VIP. They have to stay on stage and do the heavy lifting. Daryl, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, I would. To something a previous speakers said, that Donald Trump is basically Achilles, and, he has decided to do these things, and the world is cowering. China is not cowering. You know, we were promised 80 trade deals in 80 days. You know how many we have? We have 0 trade deals, right? Every time he bluffs, they call his bluff. And when I say he, I mean we, because we all, as Americans, we suffer from this. We fall back into a corner and try to figure out how to come back stronger, and we never really do. You know, Hamas is not the enemy of the United States of America. It simply is not the enemy of the United States of America. And there are bigger players on the world map that will have more impact on the future of the United States of America, both economically, fiscally, culturally, than Hamas will. Anyone who's trying to say that Hamas is the greatest threat to the United States of America is simply lying. And I think that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Cora. Would you like to say goodbye?
Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, Cora. Let's go to Sam. Would you like to say goodbye? Sam.
Hi.
Here we go. Oh, yeah.
I have 2 comments. One is to correct some incorrect facts that were given here.
I hope none were given by me.
No.
Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Sam.
Sure. First thing is that Dr. Francine's cardiologist turned medical assistant is not suffering from that fate because he's a Cuban national or a graduate of a Cuban medical school. He's suffering that fate because he's a graduate of a foreign medical school. In the United States, if you're a graduate of a foreign medical school, it doesn't matter from what country, unless there are some countries that have treaties with the United States with respect to this. I think Canada is that. That in the United States, you have to take this test. It's called ECFMG, Examination of Competence for Foreign Medical Graduates. ECFMG. They have to take that, and then they can once they pass that, they can sit for the kind of general practice internal medicine board of the particular state they're in. However, some residencies depends on how they're impacted or how difficult they are, etc., will require, after the passage of ECFMG, for the candidate to repeat the residency in the United States. But they could practice as family medicine or internal medicine after they pass ECFMG, or they could sit for the boards of the state they're in. So that is for basically if you're French graduate, English graduate, whatever they are. My father was, as you know, we were immigrants. My father was a British trained radiologist. He didn't feel like taking the ECFMG, so he didn't practice medicine in the U.S. He was a property manager. So that goes for everyone. The employer of a foreign graduate can ask for the waiver of this ECFMG requirement, and in some cases, if the physicians from a highly reputable country like Great Britain or France or Germany, then and they have an offer of employment in the United States, they would waive. They can apply to waive the requirement of ECFMG, but their requirement is there. So that's one thing. The second thing is that one of the prior speakers referenced Dostoevsky's The Idiot and the reference to the word liberal in that book. I wanted to point out that Dostoevsky wrote that book in 1869. The term liberal at the time didn't mean is what we call the small letter liberal, the capital letter liberal. The liberal that Dostoevsky is talking about is basically the United States. That is, everybody in the United States is a liberal because we believe in all men are created equal and are granted some inalienable rights of
I nursed him until he was 7, which I know people think is weird.
Property,
Means
and that's
sweating.
because that's the Lockean approach to individual sovereignty, etc., and natural law. And so we all believe in natural law, therefore we are liberals. The opposite thing to liberal in this context has in modern days it's called fascist. Is a person who doesn't believe in individual sovereignty, doesn't believe in natural law. So basically, what is enshrined in our Constitution as the First Amendment, which is freedom of press, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, and freedom of assembly, that is liberal in the way Dostoevsky talks about liberal. Our modern usage of big letter liberals started in the 1950s. Before that, liberal didn't mean this. So, thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Sam. Let's go to Lynn. Lynn, would you like to say goodbye?
Yep, it was a great show today, guys. Thank you for all your input. It's given me a lot to think about. I will be hosting Christian's show today, Ask the Autistic, right after this. So I'm going to say goodbye.
Yes, everybody, if you have time, please stop by. And Christian's house, Lynn, running Ask the Autistic right after Ask Uncle Steve with the Mod Squad. Let's go to Alfonso. Would you like to say goodbye? Alfonso. Alfonso going once. He might be busy driving his car with family. Alfonso going twice. Alfonso sold out. Violet, would you like to say goodbye? Violet.
Hey, Steve. Really thought-provoking start to my day.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to get my
Get the
mind
blood boiling and the juices flowing, right?
Yeah, so I'm already ramped up to get in rock star mode for my
There you go.
performance tonight. Maybe I'll
That's
have
right.
an interesting story tomorrow when I see
Love
you.
that. Love that.
Goodbye to everybody.
Thank you very much. And last but not least, Warren Scott. Reverend, would you like to say goodbye?
Uncle Steve, what can I say to you?
Great show, buddy. Thanks for filling in for the of hour number 3.
It's always a joy to fill in, and it's humbling to be here with this assemblage, to be counted among the greatest Mod Squad in Clubhouse. This is a group of peers that I just struggle to keep up with. I'm honored to share the stage with them and with you. My Uncle Steve, I'm fired up, Uncle Steve, and
And if you finish it, you get your meal for free and a t-shirt. Spoiler alert, I got the damn t-shirt. The waitress said she's been working this over a year and she's only seen 3 people
Pleasure is
finish it.
mine,
And
and
today
with
was
that, we are done. Thank you, everybody, for contributing, because the show is without question better with you than without you. I'll be back tomorrow, running basically the same show, just a different title. Ask the Atheist, 7 a.m. To 10 a.m. for 3 hours. Hope you can join us. From the bottom of my heart, I wish you and your families a great remainder of your Saturday. And we'll close it with this. We opened up talking about immigration. We kind of closed talking about immigration. But whether or not you're talking about immigration, aliens, displaced persons, immigrants, evacuees, exiles, foreigners, castaways, defectors, whatever the case may be, I think we really could be talking about refugees. Take care, everybody, and be careful on the clubhouse streets. See you mañana.
That's okay. I'm just leaving with my TV. make sure that people aren't stealing from this business. I'd rather not. No. You have a formal identification in your wall. We don't have to show it for now. Right? If you're taking the time to the investigation, can you just show that to receipt that proof?
What's your name, right? I don't have to go into being discriminated against when it came to housing. This has been since way back, and it hasn't stopped now. It's very consistent. We're going back, 40-something years to his first lawsuit. This is not rhetoric. This was a lawsuit, right? So when we see something that consistent, and you choose willingly, because I know how intelligent you are, you willingly choose to turn a blind eye to the obvious. I hear you.
So, Gemini, to respond to you.
First thing as well. Let's not forget the blatantly racist birther part of Trump's story.
Just let him
That was racist.
Just let him be patient. Go ahead.
No, I'm letting him go. I just want to make sure we add in the birther part because that was the most blatant thing done in terms of racism in modern memory.
Okay, so
we'll let Anthony
go to sleep, point.
Since Scotty said that this is, thank you. Since Scotty said that this is the most blatant thing that he's done as far as racism, I would like to point out to you that Hillary Clinton, the architect of that whole birther movement, she was the person that created that started that. She was also Barack Obama's the person that she tried to call out about his where he was born status. She was also his Secretary of State. So
was she the one that
Hillary Clinton, did I not call her not racist? The black
Bobby, let him finish so that we can actually learn from what you're I get it, but I want to hear you so that we can actually learn from what you have to say. Right now, all I hear is you trying to block him from saying what he's talking about. Okay? Please.
Oh, no, I'm done. Go ahead.
Can I get in there too?
So anyway.
Don, I want you to teach us.
So anyway, right now, Scotty came off his mic to say, did I say that she was not racist? So the person that she accused of being born in another country, the racist, he made her his Secretary of State because he's dumb. He's not very intelligent. He's not articulate. He was not a two-time president. He was so dumb that he made a racist his Secretary of State. This goes back to we call everything racist. This goes back to we minimize the word. We lessen it. We're the boy that cried wolf, and it's embarrassing.
Can you directly address?
It's embarrassing because.
Can you directly address? I gave you a series.
Gemini. I was getting to it. When you landed, Scotty jumped in, and he said that was the most blatantly racist thing that Trump did, and he got eviscerated. His idea just got eviscerated in front of everybody on the thing. He got eviscerated. He was just destroyed. His idea was so faulty. It was an idea was embarrassing.
Now I gotta touch this thing.
How
do you address the nation about jobs and low paying jobs and identify black people? He's a fucking racist.
100%. How are you surprised that the Liberian president can actually speak English? Wow,
can I add a point of clarity? Anthony, I get your respect for you, brother, and good afternoon, lady.
Hey, Mr. Finley, how are you?
You're friendly. I never landed. I wanted to really address the stuff that Gemini said.
I'll let you land.
I just wanted to address the stuff that Gemini said. All right, thank you. So Gemini, I grew up in New York. I like Donald Trump. All right, you know what? It's all good, man. Listen. I'm the only person that's representing a specific point of view on the stage. I'm not calling anybody out their name.
I didn't call you out your name.
No, I'm not suggesting that you are. I'm just trying to show that the level of discourse that I'm trying to have on this stage and the disrespect that I'm being met with. And it's cool. I'll just mute up and y'all can pass it around.
Did I disrespect you? Because I said you were racist.
Please, thank you.
I never said you, Patty. I never said you.
No, so that is fair. Listen, here's the thing. He is the person that has to talk because people are addressing him, is what he's saying. So if there's something that's addressed, then he's going to respond to it.
Well, I ain't addressing him. I ain't addressing him at all. So he didn't have to respond to me.
I was literally responding to Gemini, Patty. That's all I was doing. So Gemini's
a point of clarification.
Real quick, Finn.
I would like to hear your response because this is my thing. And real quick, Anthony, I outlined a series dating back to 1973 to the president as of this year when he allowed Elon to do the Nazi salute at his inauguration, and then later on admitted that he absolutely knew it was a Nazi salute, right? So there's no getting out of that. He came back, reinforced what you and I initially debated. If you remember, you were telling me how it wasn't. Now we have your president saying it absolutely was a Nazi salute, right? So since 1973 till now, he's been very consistent in having a racial agenda. And for you to try to deny that, I'm not
repeating yourself, and I just
right. I want to hear you address those events. I gave you a whole series of.
So Gemini, the 73 thing with the denying black residents. Gemini, I know black people that won't rent to black people.
Well, that's like, not what we're discussing, though.
No. Gemini, what I'm saying to you is that is not necessarily inherently racist. It's not. It's really not. When I say to you, I know black people that aren't renting to black people, I am saying to you that
You see how this
reason.
Works? Like, no. Give me a fucking break.
We can't discuss idea. We can't discuss ideas. You see how I work? I'm saying I'm stating idea, and I'm dumb. I'm not consulting
Can I ask you one favor?
Anybody, anything.
For the sake of this rebuttal,
Gemini, I would just like to land, bro.
Can I ask you one? I'm gonna give it to you. I just want to ask you one thing in your flight. I'm gonna give you one rule in your flight, please.
Before you ask me anything.
But I want you to start. Don't delineate. I want you to stay on topic. Don't talk about what other black people, Obama, nothing.
Gemini, this is not a forum that I can express anything in. I'm cool.
He can't stay on topic because he never has a fucking point.
I'm going to get my Saturday started.
He never has a fucking
Y'all have a good.
That's why he can never stay on topic. Like you
Goodbye. Oh man! Wow.
Bring up other shit. He has to. Because he has no fucking point.
He has a point. Can I make a quick point?
I just want to make a point.
It's a lie.
Mr. Finley say something. He's new.
Oh yeah, go ahead, Mr. Finley.
I just want to make a point of clarification that continuously gets brought up, and it drives me absolutely crazy. Hillary Clinton did not start the birtherism movement. There were a couple staffers on her campaign, nobody high up that had some emails that circulated. That's it. Hillary never acknowledged it. She never ran with it. She did nothing. That's they found this out after the fact.
And she actually, they actually called Obama's campaign to apologize.
Right, exactly. And so, and they found out after the fact, after Trump started running with it, right? But I hate that they keep saying that Hillary was the person that pushed this when she absolutely was not. And I vacillated with my opinion about Trump and racism because on one hand I'm like he's an opportunist, on the other hand he's like he's a racist. But I don't even bother with it anymore. The fact of the matter is, the net of it, he's a trash person. Point blank, period. He's not a man of integrity. He's not a good businessman. He's just a person that inherited a bunch of property that happened to hold its value over the years, and he's got a little bit of money and some fame, and that's it.
Thank you. I did post a link to that story, Mr. Finley, in the chat.
I think.
And Scotty, that should go ahead, man.
I think he's racist for a number of reasons, but one of the biggest ones is that when your parents are racist, it takes effort, like conscious effort, to escape that racism. And I know that Donald Trump did not do that effort, and his dad is blatantly racist. So I think that's the end of the story.
If Obama allowed a Black Panther to come up during his inauguration and throw up the Black Power salute, do you think he would have been condemned for that? Of course he would have. That's exactly what Trump did.
He was condemned for wearing a tan suit.
Exactly.
He was condemned
So,
for aligning with Jeremiah Wright.
But you know what? Even
Exactly.
the Black Panther didn't even Nazis committed genocide.
There you go. And Scotty, what Mr. Finley said is 100% correct. It was some Hillary supporters, right, that had some emails that circulated that said the birther theory. She never repeated that. She never said that on the campaign trail. Those words never came out of her mouth.
They actually worked on her campaign. The one that came up with that theory.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
That part I didn't know, but I just know she didn't do it. Like, everybody tries to attach it directly to her. She's never regurgitated that theory. She's never went on the campaign trail and called them out. Nothing. It was not associated with her other than the people around her that said that.
And the Black Panthers, they were dismantled, right? But the KKK wasn't.
KKK lives on in the MAGA part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is relevant, but I was having a conversation in another room about the fact that we've essentially what's the word? We didn't lay down the law hard enough on the Confederates after the war, and a lot of people believe that MAGA is an offshoot of that. You know what I'm saying? That whole ideology, and a lot of people believe, and I kind of agree too, that because we were so soft on the traitors, we allowed this foolishness to kind of linger and linger and linger and linger when we could have snuffed it out 100 years ago. I don't know, you guys have thought.
Yeah, it's like the great-grandchildren or whatever, like their grandparents, they do like a favor to the Nazi grandfather, basically. They say, okay, we're just gonna follow his last wishes and